Man, this is great news. This is a great day.
Fantastic.
SEC Media Days, they always bring gold. It is, the amount of credential requests they usually have at the SEC Media Day generally equals that of the other conferences combined.
Is it just cooler off the jump? I know Bobby doesn't think so. I know Clarence Hill does. For us to be focusing and more excited about SEC Media Days than Big 12 Media Days now?
Oh, yeah. There's not really now, listen.
Because otherwise, SEC Media Days were like, okay, like what happened with the Aggies? But
right.
Now, you're talking about everybody. The Big Two.
Yeah, now and really the Big Three when you throw A&M in there because you got Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M, and those are the, there's no doubt. The local in Texas sport fan is generally going to be a fan of one of those three teams if you live in DFW. Now you've got your TCU and your SMU, your Texas Tech and UNTs, but the majority of the
Tarletons.
Yeah. Majority of the people are going to fall into one of those three camps. That's just the reality. And now they're all three in the same conference again for the first time in over a decade. And they're all going to play each other again for the first time in over a decade. And now they're all getting into SEC Media Days. And one of the things that was asked to one of the SEC head of officials, is this the SEC coordinator official, Han McDavid?
Han.
Just John. Yeah, autocorrect got me on that one.
You didn't change it? It's on the...
Dude, I'm going so quick in the morning. I don't got time to change things.
Whoa.
Sorry.
See, this is what I deal with when you're out. This is what I deal with. Yeah.
Make you look stupid.
Making me look stupid because it says right there, Han McDavid.
Han McDavid.
So that's his name. I'm sorry. He can call himself, he's named Han McDavid to me. The coordinator of officials talks about, this is kind of a good answer too. It's kind of a bad answer, but he talks about
Jerry Jenkins talking about the Cowboys. Just correct it yourself. Deal with it.
Yeah, this is about the horns down.
To be unsportsmanlike conduct, I'm asking my officials to use a framework of judgment where the act to be a foul needs to be in one of three buckets. It needs to be taunting an opponent, it needs to be a travesty of the game, or it needs to otherwise compromise our ability to manage the game. What's a travesty of the game, right? It's just a phrase. I ask my officials, the act itself needs to be offending to the senses. If you took that act out of a football stadium and did it in a shopping mall or a grocery store, would it offend the senses to a majority of the reasonable people in the area, right? That signal would not, right? You might have some people that share that signal with you if you did that at a grocery store or in a shopping mall, depending where you are. So it's very much, we're going to evaluate it in context. I could see a scenario, I want to be very cautious about using hypotheticals, right? But I could see a scenario where an opponent of Texas makes a big play and celebrating with his teammates, possibly going back to the sideline, they're giving the signal. It's not taunting. It's not making a travesty of the game. It's not affecting our ability to manage the game.
Let me start with this. You want any, first off, it sounds like JJ Redick giving an answer to officiating. You want another example of the SEC just meaning more? Why does the coordinator of officials have a media session? Like, we're even going to put this guy up there at the podium. He's going to have his own press time. But my theory, I think this is going to ultimately be proven true right here with Bobby and Peyton, who love the Longhorns as their favorite college team. Isn't this great for you guys? Isn't this one of those things that you have wanted to shed and just get rid of, with everyone calling you and the school and the university soft for getting worked up over horns down? Aren't you happy that this is happening?
Yeah, I think I've always thought
no Longhorn fan gets, right?
Yeah, I've always thought it was stupid. And I don't think, it feels like one of those things that has become like as a talking point of just, oh, we can't have this. This is unsportsmanlike, yada, yada, yada. I feel like that's not a common take of a Texas fan. Anyway, like it's become something that at like the higher up level that it's just like, well, that's just disrespectful. You can't do that. And I mean, the last time we had this incident, it wasn't even Texas calling for it. It was BYU. Told their fans, like, no, turn them around. Don't do that. That's super rude. And so to me, I'm glad this will just be put out of the way, because to have the power to do this, like, they have to be able to do that. Otherwise, Hook'em Horns has no power to like flash that at somebody's face if you can't allow them to do the opposite.
Right. If down is taunting, then so is up. I mean, it's the same. There's no difference. Like, you have to have a yin with the yang. Every good has to have an evil counterpart.
Peyton, are you happy that they're ridding this as an issue and a topic for you guys?
Yeah, as much as I troll with you making it a big deal, it's, get past it, move past it. I mean, it's going to happen no matter what from the crowd and fans and everything. Like, just move past it. Let's move on with it and don't make it a penalty.
And, I mean, Texas fans have a position of power here. They could say, look, this just proves that we are always on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
They could say that. Is it right? I mean, who knows? But I mean, it's something that they could fairly say about this. Now, there's an OU player, Billy Bowman, one of their safeties, who was up at the podium, and Billy Bowman was talking about horns down and took a little shot at the Big 12.
I mean, it shouldn't be a penalty anyways. Everybody has a hand signal. If you let a hand signal affect you and affect the game, maybe you shouldn't be there. So, I mean, allowing us to throw the horns down, that's cool and all. If it can't be a part of the game, then, I mean, it's pretty soft.
Basically call the Big 12 a little soft. And
It's true.
it's true. And this is what
Just like the SEC conservatives slapping down a soft liberal horns down.
snowflakes, the
It's snowflakes.
in the Big 12.
Yes.
So this kind of was like what Nick Saban was talking about the day before.
Once he was allowed in the venue.
Once he was allowed in the venue. Because he basically said, like Texas is big, but they ain't going to run. They ain't going to run things here.
What kind of tickles me is all these people asking these questions about how Texas always ran the conference they were in. They're not going to run the SEC. Right? There's a whole lot of arrogant people in a lot of places in the SEC, so they can forget all about that. They'll be a good team and a great program, and Stark will do a great job, but that's not going to be a problem.
Look, I mean, it took one trip for that flowing Quinn Ewers mullet to Bryant Denny for Nick Saban to not even be allowed in a venue without a credential. It sounds to me like Texas is already absolutely running the SEC.
This was my argument to Clarence Hill years ago at a party. Shout out to Dave Wishnu in Oxnard.
Oh, yeah.
And Clarence was like the unpopular kid just begging to be let into the party. Not this party.
Right.
He was more than welcome. But the SEC party. And I kept asking him, why? Why? This is the argument we have of, do you want to be in the NFC East or do you want to be in the AFC West? Put me in the NFC East. But because you want to feel cool and you want to feel popular and you want to feel included, fine. Now you get your wish. Go ahead.
Yeah, and
have a tough game every single week.
It's tough for me to know if Nick Saban is talking about on the field or off the field, too. Because, Texas off the field absolutely ran the Big 12.
I think he is talking about off the field. I think he's talking about, like, they're not going to dictate what happens in this conference. Because clearly on the field, you can't say they ran the conference for a few different years.
Yeah.
And so
sure.
I think
but they still have the most talent. And they very well maybe have the most talent in the SEC, too.
Sure. I think that.
But over the last 10 years, we would probably, Bobby, you probably know the numbers off the back of your head. We would say Oklahoma had the better program.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Texas was
good,
way down. It took. Obviously, at the end of the Mac Brown era, and then Charlie Strong came in here and pissed off every Texas high school coach first thing in the door and ruined his recruiting in the state from that point. Herman came in, had his struggles. Sark comes in and has, for the most part, kind of cleaned things up and gotten stable. But, I mean, had his own lumps early on. So, I mean, Texas as a program has had a ton of issues. That's why people so consistently compare them to the Cowboys.
From a competitive standpoint, forget about, I know you don't like being part of the cult. Are you happier to be in a bigger boy conference? Or would you rather be in the Big 12 still?
I mean, a part of me wants to be in the Big 12, and I understand it's not like the Big 12 has existed for 1,000 years. It's still relatively new in the grand scheme of things. But there's something about, like, I don't love the idea of leaving traditionally kind of where they've been and going and playing in these waters with different schools. Like that I don't love. But I mean, from a competitive standpoint, no, I'd rather run the conference.
What would you rather be in?
At first, I was disappointed when they went to the SEC. I thought, okay, it's going to be another 10-plus years of losing. So I thought the Big 12 was a better chance of winning, especially in football. But now it's like, okay, the schedule's not that bad. I think the talent, the recruiting's going to get better. So I'm fine with the SEC right now.
And now I'm going to flip it on you.
All right.
I think I know your answer, and it's going to be, I think, Clarence Hill-ish. If I gave Tennessee a pass to get out and go to a weaker conference so you guys could be more of a factor and a player, would you choose it? I know your answer is no.
Probably not.
Why? Cool kids.
No, I think that
The cult.
It's a cult.
it's not even the cult.
You'd rather be 8th place in the cult than top 3 somewhere else. What's yeah, go ahead, finish that thought.
So I would not. I would like. I want to be. They've got a pretty good chance of getting the playoff this year.
Okay,
Right?
fine.
They got a really good chance.
1 year. I'm just talking about,
Yeah.
overall, the way it's been.
Right. No. I would say because this makes
His name is Ralph James Choppy. His name is Ralph James Choppy. It's very Fight Club thinking that you got here. It's very cultish.
No. It's not. It's not the cult. I think when you win too much, you lose the joy.
Oh.
And
you have more joy.
I think you would rather be the worst SEC team than the best ACC team. I think you would.
That's what I'm saying to him.
I would rather be in the middle because the 1 year you do win means so much more, and it'll make all the losing worth it.
It took a record amount of time for you to get there, but you did come up with a choppy answer.
Because I don't really
I'd rather be in the middle.
I don't really know how to explain. Because when I was first introduced to the SEC in 1997, it was us in Florida that ran the whole conference. And then that
It was
stopped.
Florida that ran the conference. Come on.
Well, we won the same amount of titles in the 90s.
It was a Peyton Manning job.
Yeah. So it was us in Florida. And now it's not. It's Georgia and it's Alabama and it's soon to be Oklahoma and Texas. And, thank God for the playoff because now it gives us a chance to get in.
Well, speaking of Oklahoma, you ready for an evisceration? Thanks to the Tolo who sent me this. Paul Finebaum talking about the former OU coach Lincoln Riley and how much pressure he's under at USC this year. Get out the extinguisher.
How much does Riley have to prove at USC this year?
I think he has an enormous amount to prove because, quite frankly, Jay, I think he's been a disaster. Let's go back 3 years. Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC. It was announced at this moment in time. What did Lincoln Riley do? He ran away. He did not want to deal with the Southeastern Conference at OU. He took what he thought was an easier course, so he goes out to Southern Cal. He takes Caleb Williams. Good first year, but since then, everything has gone wrong. I thought last year was one of the worst coaching jobs I have ever seen. Quite frankly, had I been the athletic director at Southern Cal, I would have fired Lincoln Riley because he's yet to show, after many years as a head coach, he knows anything about defense. He's gone through defensive coordinators. He just simply couldn't handle it. And now things are going to be 5 times worse in the Big Ten. On top of that, a number of his top players are bailing out. This is a guy who owned LA for about a half a minute, and quite frankly, next year at this time, I think he'll more than likely be an assistant in the NFL if he's that lucky.
Such a murdering. I mean, just
It surprises me that Finebaum walks around these events and no one takes a swing.
I know.
Like this egghead just walking around crapping on everyone.
Yeah.
He looks like a librarian.
He does.
He really is. Who's the teacher on South Park?
Mr. Mackey or Mr. Garrison? Mackey was the principal or the counselor.
Yeah, and one had the Christmas poo.
Yeah.
Mr. Garrison is this one, and then Mr. Mackey McKay is that one.
So we're about to see it all fall apart for the golden child, according to Finebaum.
That it's no, they obviously moving to the Big Ten. That is a conundrum in its own. The travel that they now have, obviously the different set of recruits that they now have. It's crazy.
Yeah, but they might score more points in the Big Ten next year than the entire conference combined. Because they'll put up points. They'll just give up 100 in the process.